So this is a Miele Twist S7 U1. This was made in 2013, and this was actually an eBay find. I've been wanting to get one of these for a while, but I didn't want to pay the amount of money on one of these until I knew it was a good vacuum, at least good enough for my needs. And I've gotten this one all fixed up now. One unfortunate thing about these is you can't really buy the parts anywhere online. That's Miele's doing, and unfortunately for guys like me, you have to go through a Miele dealer. Now, that being said, this thing did need two parts. One of them was a new handle assembly, because this little button right here was missing. And it also needed a new bottom base, because this little guy right here is supposed to, when the vacuum is sent back or put in the back position, it goes up into that plate. So the part that I had that was broken, that issue on its own wasn't that big of a deal, but where it broke was right in there. There's supposed to be two little tabs there that bring that thing back down when you set the vacuum back up in the standing position. So because those were both broken and missing, the vacuum wouldn't bring this down or put it back where it was supposed to be when you were done using it. It also had an issue where, got to set it back over again. As you can see with the wheel axle, there is two gear sets that make the wheels go in and come back out for when you stand it up. So when you bring the vacuum back, it puts the wheels up, and then you can move the vacuum around as normal. That part, that base plate, piece of plastic, was $100 shipped from Miele. So in total, I didn't realize it at the time when I bought this, but I ended up getting very lucky, as you guys can see. It's fine now. That's about $250 some odd in parts. My Miele dealer had this sitting in the back of his shop for, from what he said, about 4 years. Now, I ended up pillaging the air filter out of this one and sticking it into mine, because mine just came with this little one right here, and then I've got a brand new air filter actually to go inside it, but it's just like a piece of cloth. So anyways, he had this thing sitting in the back of his shop for 4 years, and with Miele vacuums, he even said that he very rarely sells used parts for them, partially because he very rarely has really many issues with them that warrant somebody getting rid of an entire machine as either a trade-in or just giving it to the store. So he didn't really have much of a use for this. Now, as you guys can obviously tell, I took the little button off of this handle. That's all I needed. This handle itself is actually in much better condition than this one, but I am keeping this whole carcass around specifically because I know there's probably going to be parts off of it I'm going to need in the future. But anyways, so I took that little button off of it. That's all I needed. And I took the bottom plate, the base plate, off of this one, and this is where it was broken. See, that's how it's supposed to look, and that's how it is busted. Now you can see the two gear sets in the back. Now mine wasn't standing up, so I originally thought it might need a new axle. These wheels are supposed to go back in a certain way. You're supposed to line them up with these little nubs that are here, and it basically sets how many teeth it's going to be sitting on. And if that doesn't happen, like what was happening with mine, it tips over and falls back. So what probably ended up happening with that one was, for whatever reason, the prior owner, I did get that thing off of eBay, decided to take it apart and didn't put it back together properly, which is more or less typical. You know, these machines are not the easiest vacuum to work on. They're definitely not impossible to work on, especially if you're patient enough to do so. It seemed that somebody was trying to work on this thing. There was evidence of somebody being inside it before I got it. Really, I don't think they really knew too much of what they were doing. But as I said, this is the filter that I got out of the black machine, and I threw it in this one. I am going to replace that filter here pretty soon. I don't know if it'll work, but this machine did not come standard with the headlight. This one did. I haven't even tried to plug this thing in yet to see if it runs. I guess I could do that, but I'm probably going to do it off camera because it's probably going to kick up a ton of dust. But as far as these machines are concerned, they are bagged machines. They do filter very well, and I am truly amazed that they work as well as they do. Because the first time I used this thing, this is, you know, about a week's worth of crap in here. I don't even know if you guys can see any of this, but that's about a week's worth of nastiness inside there. And I vacuum every day. But these vacuums, they work really well. You could say I picked this thing up because I kind of really wanted to make sure that if I ever bought one of these new, then I wouldn't feel too bad in taking that gamble, because I paid about, I think, $45 for this machine and got this one for free from my vacuum store. He told me straight out that, you know, if he had not have had this machine, it wouldn't have even been worth me buying the parts for this one to fix it. He would have just said to buy a brand new machine. But he said that definitely if he had done the work, even with the used parts, it wouldn't have been worth it. So he knows I like to mess with this stuff, and I get along with him pretty well. And I sell a lot of my vacuums I either don't want around the house anymore, or I've given him parts to. In all honesty though, I love this vacuum. By far, out of all the vacuums I've used, this is right up on par with the Royals and the Kirby's that I've had. They weigh about the same. The only downside with these is most of the machine is plastic. So you're going to have issues with things breaking if you abuse this or drop it, or you're just really rough with it. Things are going to break. There's no denying that that will happen. But as long as you're careful with it and you maintain it and don't try and you know, make it do things that you know it couldn't do or probably shouldn't do. As far as the roller brush is concerned, it's a fairly aggressive brush. So I'm hitting the foot pedal back there, so I'll kind of leave it on the side like this. But it's a fairly aggressive brush, and when I first got this machine, this roller brush was just filled with hair and debris and all sorts of crap. So I ended up having to disassemble this thing anyways, just to, you know, more easily get to all the stuff that was on the brush roll. You can do it how it is right now, but it's a lot easier just to take everything apart and clean it up with the brush roll off the vacuum. I also took both bearings off and greased them up as well. But anyways, enough of me babbling. Let's hook this thing up, and I'll show you guys how quiet it is. The only other thing I need to get for it is a new cord clip, because this one and the other one, the parts machine, don't have the cord clip on the plug. So anytime you want to put the cord away, you have to kind of get creative with the handle. So use the carry handle, because that's what it's for. And I'll leave it on floor so you guys can hear the suction motor. And it sucks the whole bag cover back in. And you can adjust your suction, more suction to less suction. This is medium pile carpet, so I leave it in between deep and low, and that seems to work okay. So it's set to bare floor right now. The brush roll's not spinning. And now it is. For as heavy as this machine is, it's really easy to push. It's really a pleasure to use. And it grooms the carpet fairly nicely. The twist feature, you don't realize it until you use it, how nice this feature is. But this vacuum, after the first time I used it, I just couldn't believe how much stuff it picked up out of the carpet. Because I checked the bag right after I was done vacuuming, and you know, a brand new clean bag, and it had all sorts of crap in it. But I'll demonstrate on the trash can here what I mean. You'll go right around stuff. So that's a pretty nice feature. But all in all, this thing works really well. It is a bypass design, so it's not going to be as effective per se as something with a more direct airflow, like a Royal or a Kirby. But it does get the job done. This is how easy it is to get to the tools. It's hard to do this one-handed. And normally I completely undo the cord, but I'll just leave that how it is. So it's a pretty long wand. If I can remember. And you just press that button right at the end there, and it makes it even longer. With this model, you have 3 tools. You have a crevice tool, a dusting brush, and an upholstery tool. And the little handle it's got on it makes it really easy. Now when you're using it, another nice feature they have is you can actually take the 45-degree out, and it makes the vacuum a hell of a lot harder to tip over when you're using the hose. Because with that 45 straight up, the vacuum will want to tip over fairly easily. But this makes it quite a bit easier to use when you want to use any of the attachments. Anyways, boys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more or have questions about one of these, definitely fire off a comment or two and let me know. But until then, stay tuned for more. You all stay classy.